just for shelter pets, the goal is $53,000. Last year alone, 10,600 animals went through the shelter. Pearl Street Park, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Steps for Shelter Pets, all to help out animal care control and what they do for the animals every single day. By the way, Pearl Street Park is right off Baxter Street, and that is near Kenilworth, so don't miss it. Steps for Shelter Pets, that's tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's just one of the great things happening this weekend. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
All right, thanks, Larry. And turning to a wrap of your top stories of the day.
Right now, CMPD needs your help finding a missing teen. Take a look at your screen. This is 13-year-old Serenity George. Police say she was last seen on Orchard Trace Lane in North Charlotte. If you see her or know where she might be, call 911 immediately.
And AAA is predicting record-breaking travel across North Carolina this weekend. 1.3 million North Carolinians are expected to travel at least 50 miles for Memorial Day weekend. Gas prices are also at their lowest since 2021. North Carolina is averaging $2.87 a gallon, and South Carolina is $2.80.
All right, let's take a final look at our area roadways. Remember, there is this ongoing pedestrian accident. It's on North Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave. That is backing up traffic quite a bit there. And then off to the east, all of that red is indicating a big slowdown. That's on I-85 and Sugar Creek Road. So if you typically drive that way, allow for a few extra minutes to get to where you need to be on this Friday. Chris.
All right, here it is. One last look here on WCNC, your Guy Roofing 70 forecast. Upper 70s today for my pick of the week. More clouds tomorrow. Better chance for rain, especially south of I-85 on Sunday. And then Monday, I think we're going to have a solid dry period, but it's a cloudier day. Tuesday, it's going to rain. After that, it's kind of back to business as usual.
Well, a reminder that the news does not end here. We are live all day with breaking news, weather, and traffic on WCNC+. Good morning. Thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 7 a.m. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg in for Ben right now. We want to get to some breaking news right now where we are with Majestic Storm. She's going to talk about this incident on Hoskins Road. Majestic, what do we got going on here?
Well, there's a live look of exactly what we're seeing right now. I just want to let you know about it. So as we're looking at our traffic maps, that was a live look of that ongoing accident that we've been tracking now for you for a while now. So if we can switch it over to our live traffic maps, I'm going to show you exactly what we're seeing and really what we know. So here we go. I want to zoom it on in to where we have not just an accident, but this is a pedestrian accident. We don't know a lot of information with what's going on currently, but you can see those backups there. And from our live shots as well, you can see there were multiple police officers there on scene. It's really making for some impacts here. North Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave, that's where we're seeing the biggest impacts there. But even as we zoom it on out, you can see how far back it goes. So if you typically drive that way, try to go around it, let them get through that. I also want to take you over to areas east of that. That's where we do have another ongoing accident. It's between Sugar Creek Road and I-85. That's where we have stop and go traffic. So if you take I-85, we are looking at some stop and go conditions there. Off to the north, another stalled vehicle that's making for a slower morning commute. It's on Alexandron Road between Eastfield Road, and then one more here. I want to take you down to the south now. There's actually a crash on Wilkinson Boulevard and Old Steel Creek Road. That's what we know right now. We'll have more updates when it comes to that pedestrian accident throughout the rest of the show, but right now not knowing a lot of information other than those big slowdowns with that ongoing active scene. Chris, how's the weather as we're heading into our Memorial Day?
Oh, picture perfect. I'm glad the weather's not adding insult to injury to any of the crashes that we have out there. Instead, we have Carolina, blue skies. We got sunshine in the month of May. We have a few clouds off in the distance you can see here in Dallas, but this is the way our sky's going to look for the most part. A sunny to a mostly sunny day. At worst, it's a partly cloudy day for a brief stint, but I think today is going to be mostly clear. Winds out of the west-northwest. That's going to drag in some slightly cooler air, so temperatures just shy of 80 degrees this afternoon, and those wind gusts getting to around 20 plus miles per hour, but not 35 plus if we saw on and off through yesterday, and much calmer by tomorrow as well. So today's highs: sunshine, upper 70s, mid 70s for the I-40 corridor, and then the lower to the mid 60s up in the high country. And our high temperatures are going to trend down slightly for tomorrow with more cloud cover. They come back up on Sunday before we are right back down to the 60s for highs on Tuesday. And the reason why we're seeing that is because we see no sunshine and it's going to rain. Our low temperatures hit their bottom also overnight tonight. We should be around 60 degrees, down to the lower to the mid 50s, and then our rainfall chances start to pick up the day after that. So our first chance for rain is on Sunday. Memorial Day also has a slight potential for some rain, also a cloudier day, so not the best of pool days for your Memorial Day. And then Tuesday, widespread rain. This is the only day that absolutely stands out from the rest. I think it's going to be tough to try to avoid that rain. I already have an 80% chance for rain on day 5 of the forecast. Yeah, that's significant. So you're going to want the umbrella that day for sure, and even rain jacket type weather the way things are setting up. Here's your futurecast. Let's get right through it. Overnight tonight, it's a clear sky. That's going to maximize our cool down. Through the day tomorrow, we see those clouds pick up pretty quickly. I think you're under a partly sunny to a mostly cloudy day, so you will see some blue spots of sky here and there throughout the afternoon. And then by your Sunday, here comes our next chance for rain. It's very scattered and spotty, mainly in South Carolina to start off the afternoon. So if you live around the I-40 corridor, you don't really have your first chance of rain until about the evening hours. But watch what happens. This starts to expand a little bit. That's going to be a better chance for maybe some blossoming showers and storms as the front gets a little bit closer to the area through Monroe, around Wadesboro. By 9 p.m. through the overnight, rain is really starting to flourish a little bit more. So you will have a chance for some measurable rainfall, mainly against Sunday evening, Sunday night, heading into Monday morning. So that could impact the Coca-Cola 600. This is not washout weather. We've dealt with worse situations as far as that's concerned, but rain will be in the area right when the race is beginning and around when the race is ending. So fingers crossed that we're able to stay dry. The good news is at least it is trending a little bit further south. But what about the next chance for rain? One other thing that's starting to change is this system looks like it is slowing down a little bit. So before it was looking like, hey, by the end of your Memorial Day, widespread rain. Now it looks like you could even start your Tuesday morning commute dry before the rain starts to take over. Now again, this is still day 5 of the extended forecast, so a lot could still change. But look at the amount of green that's here on the map. Long range models don't really show a lot of detail, so you really just look at them for general timing. But it does show that we have a good chance for rain, especially whenever you have those darker greens and yellows throughout your Tuesday. So as of right now, 2 scenarios are going to play out. Either it's going to be a wet start for your morning commute and rain continues through most of the day, or it starts later in the morning and continues through the evening. But still looks like a solid 6 to 12 hour stretch that we're going to have active rain, and it could be heavy at times. By the end of the week, it's just general pop-up showers and thunderstorms as moisture starts to return once again, where it starts to feel humid. That's why I call today my pick of the week, because truly you might be a fan of the mid to the upper 80s, but these days where it feels this great, this dry, this comfortable are going to soon disappear. So take advantage of a day that's below normal with sunshine and feels amazing. By tomorrow, it's still going to feel great. So great weather for the Charlotte FC match. All of that full forecast coming up. And as I mentioned, those increased rain chances are also going to add to it. So enjoy the best day of the week by far. It's going to be a good one.
Thanks, Chris. 7:06 now. Happening today, Charlotte City Council member Tijuana Brown is expected to plead not guilty in federal court today. She is accused of illegally getting COVID relief money and using it for personal expenses. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning with details on today's hearing and the accusations. Destiny, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, Councilwoman Brown is expected to be in court later this morning in just a few hours. And like you said, she's expected to enter a not guilty plea. This is as she's facing multiple federal charges. And in the federal indictment, it says that she and her daughters are accused of fraudulently obtaining $124,000, more than $124,000 in COVID relief money. Now, documents say that, or they claim that Brown and her daughters submitted false documentation, including incorrect tax forms to secure pandemic relief loans. Investigators say one of those loans meant for business expenses was used instead to pay for Brown's birthday party. That party included a rented throne, a horse-drawn carriage, and was featured on her nonprofit's Instagram page. Brown admits to receiving $20,833, but says she repaid it.
No one had to tell me to pay it back. When I found out that there may have been some stipulations and how the application was processed, I paid it back.
Brown also says the loans were forgiven, but prosecutors allege that forgiveness came through falsified documents. Her attorney says she can't comment on any other details with a trial ahead, but she is calling this a politically motivated attack. She's saying that she vows to stay on Charlotte City Council and serve District 3, and she also plans to run again in November. And we know she's facing 2 counts of federal fraud, and in each of those counts, she carries up to 20 years of prison if she's convicted. I'll send it back to you guys live here in Uptown.
And again, Destiny, she says that she is going to continue serving on the council with no plans to resign, yes?
Yeah, she is definitely maintaining innocence. I was there at the press conference yesterday morning, and she just kept repeating that she has made a commitment to serve her District 3 constituents. She's saying all of these are claims. She's not speaking as to anything regarding the spending of the funds, and she says she hasn't been convicted of anything, so why should she resign? I remember her saying that exactly. So it'll definitely be something to see coming down the line what actually happens, but this is what she's committing to do, is stay on Charlotte City Council and run again.
Destiny Richards live for us this morning. Destiny, thank you for that. This weekend is the unofficial kickoff to summer, and AAA is already predicting record-breaking travel across North Carolina. 1.3 million North Carolinians are expected to travel at least 50 miles for Memorial Day weekend. That's about 50,000 more than last year. It all comes as gas prices dropped to their lowest level since 2021. North Carolina averaging $2.87 a gallon. In South Carolina, it's $2.80. At the airport, TSA says it's ready for a busy summer travel season in North Carolina. Data shows more than 8 million people traveled through state airports last summer. And Charlotte Douglas says 6 of its 10 busiest days last year revolved around summer travel. This is the first major travel holiday since President Trump's tariffs went into effect.
Several companies announcing they're holding steady on pricing, at least for now. NBC News senior business correspondent Kristen Romans has those details this morning.
On the cusp of one of the biggest sale weekends of the year, shoppers are paying attention to prices.
OMG, when did this cheese become $12?
On Wednesday, Target reported weaker sales in its first quarter, but it is not raising prices just yet. Amazon's CEO also revealing the company hasn't, quote, seen any meaningful average selling price increases, and he says consumers keep spending.
I am in Walmart and I am looking for the baby pull-ups. Why are the pull-ups $30?
Amazon and Target's announcements coming after the nation's largest retailer, Walmart, says it's been forced to raise some costs for customers as soon as this month.
We're wired to keep prices low for customers. But the level of tariffs that have been proposed is pretty challenging for all retailers, for suppliers.
And as some retailers brace for tariffs to hit, NBC News has learned that Nike will hike prices on select footwear and apparel, but nothing under $100. Nike saying in a statement, "We regularly evaluate our business and make pricing adjustments as part of our seasonal planning."
Memorial Day savings start now at the Home Depot.
But just as the Memorial Day weekend sales begin, some good news from home improvement giant Home Depot, vowing to keep prices steady despite rising costs from tariffs.
We don't see broad-based price increases for our customers at all going forward.
A strategy that could benefit business.
If you have the same products or very similar for lower prices, it'd be hard for a consumer to justify going somewhere else.
Coca-Cola says it's sticking to current pricing plans for the year. And Apple says it's moving production for iPhones sold in the U.S. from China to India to offset costs. Signs that companies want to stay on consumers' good side.
Companies always want to do what's best for the consumer, frankly, because at the end of the day, it also is what's best for them.
Well, the unofficial start of summer is this weekend, and if your HVAC system goes on the fritz this summer, fixing it will cost more than it did last year. Repair shops across the country say their prices are fluctuating due to inflation and new policies from the Trump administration. While some HVAC materials are made here in the U.S., the majority of parts are made in China and assembled in Mexico. Well, like we said, it's the unofficial start of summer, which also means the start of boating season.
Does indeed. WCNC Charlotte's meteorologist Chris Mulcahy taking us out on the water this morning to raise our weather IQ on how the forecast can rock your lake day.
The weather affects everything you do outside, including boating. Let's raise that weather IQ. I'm gonna need a bigger boat. We're here at Freedom Boat Club, right here on Lake Wiley, and Captain Ben and crew says they're ready to get us out on the water. Let's go! When you're the captain of your ship, well, I'm not the captain, he's the captain, you need to be weather aware when you're out in the water.
That's right, Chris. Yeah, you want to make sure you're watching a radar at all times. You know, things can go bad really quickly out here. Keep an eye on the skies, keep an eye on your phone, look at that radar app. It's perfect.
You know, speaking of, the WCNC Charlotte app is a great tool to bring with you out in the boat because it has live radar. But try not to drop your phone. Oh no, that was my wife's phone. And when you're having a blast in the boat, you might forget one crucial thing. While out in the water, you're more likely to burn than beached on land, so make sure to have plenty of sunscreen. And why is that? Well, the water reflects about 10% of the sun's rays. It's called albedo, and that's the reflectivity of surfaces that could reflect that sun right back at you. And don't underestimate a cloudy day, it could burn you just as much. In my career, I've seen many thunderstorms form over the lake. One early on in my career actually blew the boats from their docks. Also, lightning's attracted to water, making you more of a target. So whenever you hear thunder, I would race for the docks. Because when a storm be brewing, your seas will become angry. I don't know how to tie knots. And as Captain Ben tells us, if you can feel the wind, it's going to affect the way the boat drives.
You can notice a difference with just 5 to 10 miles an hour of wind. You know, I don't think you can feel anything below about 5 miles an hour, but if you can feel it, it's affecting the way that your boat's driving.
But the most important thing is have fun while being safe, and of course know what the weather's going to do. I'm meteorologist Chris Mulcahy with another Weather IQ.
Well, look at you having some fun out on the water.
Oh, I had a blast. Shout out to my photographer, Matt Hammond. That was an awesome time. And then also Captain Ben.
Of course.
Who put up with us is the main thing.
But, I mean, you made a very valid point, the wind. I mean, when you notice those differences, take it in.
Yeah, and it winds up to about 20 miles per hour. Couldn't make the waves just choppy enough.
Okay.
To just make sure you're not going in at an angle. And the Freedom Boat Club is really cool because you have the opportunity that you could rent a boat there. There's also a lot of other places, such as up at Lake Norman, if you ever want to rent a boat, safe for this wonderful weekend.
And there's also, my parents are part of it, so you can go to New York and Florida.
Oh, really?
Okay. It's all over. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
I love that story. You did so good. But it's also like when you're out on the lake to be able to just have your phone where you can get updates and alerts sent to you, just in case there's something that you need to know that you might not be thinking about when you're just out having fun. It's
very
Keep
true.
our mobile app. All right, what about today's forecast?
It looks great. Great day for on the lake, but make sure not to drop your phone in the water, especially
your wife.
Especially your wife's phone. I'm so sorry, Kim. Didn't mean to do that. Our weekend forecast is actually trending pretty good. As you're leaving the dock, temperatures are likely going to be in the upper 70s to the mid 70s to around 80 degrees. Now, note, today is the best boating day because we're going to have the most sunshine. Even 80 degrees on Sunday, we'll have a slight chance for a little bit of rain. Water temperatures right now, I checked Lake Wylie, I checked Lake Norman, right around the mid to the upper 70s. Earlier in the week, Lake Norman hit a spike about 81.3. So there's a lot of sites that you can monitor the water temperatures. That's not too bad. When the water temperature meets the air temperature, that's awesome. Our current temperatures right now, we are dealing with the mid to the upper 50s. This is the cold spot. So it's usually about an hour after the sun rises up that you have your morning low, and 54 degrees in Hickory, 47 degrees in Boone. We are feeling the chill, y'all, and tomorrow is going to be even cooler, believe it or not. But today, a high of 79 degrees is actually my pick of the week. The reason why yesterday didn't get that wonderful title, it was 84, it was warmer, it should have, right? It's beautiful. The winds are rocking and rolling. Today, you're still going to have a breezy day, but it's not as bad. It is a wind out of the northwest, so it's about a 5 to 6 degree cool down compared to what we had just a day ago, but enjoy the sunny to mostly sunny day. As I mentioned, we're getting cooler. The bottom of our lows officially hits tomorrow. Check out the 49s from Morganton to Statesville, 40 degrees in Boone, and the lower 50s around Charlotte. So this is the coldest low, the coldest morning you're going to have of the week. Very light winds, a clear sky that maximizes what's called our radiational cooling, which is going to cool us down big time. Our Memorial Day weekend forecast, as I already showed you, it's pretty decent days each one to get out on the water. But by Sunday and Monday, two things happen. Number one, you're going to have more cloud cover. That additional cloud cover is going to allow for a shower or two to pop up, especially south of I-85 on Sunday. So there's actually a better chance for rain at Lake Wylie compared to Lake Norman. And then on Monday, your Memorial Day, I actually think most of us are going to stay dry. The good news is that we're actually going to see rain only in the morning or later on in the evening. So things are trending in a better direction for that. I want to go through your hour-by-hour forecast. So let's start here Sunday around midnight. We're clear, but notice how the clouds start to increase, and we see signs of rain as early as Sunday about 9 a.m. That's not impacting any of our areas as of yet, but by the early afternoon, we're starting to see some scattered rain to begin your Sunday. So let's rewind that right here. So here's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, very spotty shower. All in all, sometimes these don't really verify, especially with how little moisture we have, but I think you have a better chance for some showers really as you work your way past sunset. So about the 8 to 9 to 10 o'clock hour, we have some flourishing rain, even a chance for a thunderstorm further south in South Carolina. But notice how that rain starts to expand as we get closer to midnight. So that means that for the Coca-Cola 600, we will have a chance for rain. Outside of that, we're just waiting another round of rain that really arrives on Monday night, heading into Tuesday, which Tuesday right now looking like the coolest and wettest day of the week. After that, upper 70s with a chance for pop-up showers and thunderstorms to develop thereafter. So that's your weather forecast. Up next, we have Majestic with our morning commute, where it is now starting to get quite active with a big-time incident. So let's get over to her.
Exactly. We are tracking multiple things this morning. I want to take it to this. We've been following this very carefully. Our crews are here at Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave, where there is actually an ongoing issue, a pedestrian accident. Right now, we do know that the area roadways right there are closed, so do not take this direction. We are still continuing to figure out what is going on as far as the conditions for the person that was involved in this pedestrian accident. I want to switch it now over to our live traffic maps to give you some perspective as to where this is specifically at. So you can see those backups. People are trying to navigate around it. Again, North Hoskins Road, but our WCNC crew, they are there on scene saying that it's right at the intersection between that and Tennessee Ave. In addition to that, we have a new accident. It's on I-77. If you're heading northbound, we have a big slowdown there at exit 23. So make sure you allow for a little extra drive time. If you're heading out of town, I-77 north, it is moving very slowly. Another backup here, it's on I-85. Left lanes are blocked due to a crash there at Sugar Creek Road. So making for about a 10-minute delay for your Friday morning commute.
What to do this weekend? There's a lot going on across here this weekend. One of the big events is this one right here. It's tomorrow, Steps for Shelter Pets. The goal is $53,000. Last year alone, 10,600 animals went through the shelter. Pearl Street Park, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Steps for Shelter Pets, all to help out animal care control and what they do for the animals every single day. By the way, Pearl Street Park is right off Baxter Street, and that is near Kenilworth, so don't miss it. Steps for Shelter Pets, that's tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's just one of the great things happening this weekend. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Well, it is a big week for racing in Charlotte with the Coca-Cola 600 coming up this Sunday night. The biggest name in the sport is the subject of a new documentary. Earnhardt is out right now on Prime Video.
Last night, many stars of racing came out to the world premiere in Camp North End. WCNC Charlotte's Nick Carboni was at the event and talked to Earnhardt Jr. and his sister Kelly about the film.
Well, first of all, guys, congratulations. I guess, what is tonight like? What are you looking forward to about a world premiere and having it right here in Charlotte, North Carolina?
Well, we're super excited. It's unusual for me. I've not been a part of something like this, but just really excited to share this documentary with the world and to be here in our hometown and the hub of racing and all of that is very special.
Dale, I think you've been to some premieres before. Where does this one going to stack up? It's got your name on it.
Yeah, this one's real personal for sure. Just happy to see the support that it's gotten from the industry, drivers like Ryan Blaney and some old friends. Just it's awesome to see all the people that wanted to come out and see the premiere. Fans can watch it at home on their couch and enjoy it today. We're gonna enjoy the reaction to that and all the feedback. And I think when they see the final 2 episodes, they'll really be blown away because I think it's a really good representation of Dad and who he was.
Well, we think we've known the family for decades. I'm sure you thought you knew your family for decades. What did you learn watching this?
I learned a lot actually about Kelly's perspective. I saw a lot of things, a lot of images, video that I'd never seen of Dad. I heard some incredible thoughts from his friends that they had never shared before. So for decades, there was a bit of a bit of an idea of keeping all of that under lock and key, keeping that to yourself. All of his friends were reluctant to share stories and their feelings and ideas because out of respect. And I think enough time's passed and there was enough support around this project that everybody felt really comfortable to open up and really share some new stories and some new perspective. So me and Kelly, I think, both learned quite a bit about our dad.
I'll ask this to you, Kelly. For decades, everybody's wanted to know the story of the family and wanted to pick apart and learn everything. What made you guys comfortable with allowing this project to do that?
You know, I don't know that Dell and I really ever thought about doing a project like this, but, we were approached by Imagine and the Ron Howard team, and so, credibility right away with those names, and, as we got into it and saw what they were wanting to do and then working with us and sharing that story, it just came together and came to light. So I don't think we would have done something like this without some big names like that from the California area.
And final question, just spoke with the director about the archival footage. You had never seen footage of your grandfather, Ralph, before?
Well,
tell me about that.
I'll tell you about it. So my father showed me a video many, many years ago, and Dad said that to his understanding, this was the only video of Ralph talking and walking and moving around, right? So I'd never seen Ralph speak, never heard his voice. until that day. This was back in the mid-90s. Dad showed me the video, we watched it, and in my mind, for all of my life, that was the only piece, and it's only a few minutes long. It's an interview he did after a race at Charlotte. And this group, Imagine, Kelly talked about how incredibly talented they are. They found new video that I'd never seen and no one had even realized was available. All of that stuff is still kept in individual private collections of family members or friends and people who were around in those days, and stuff just hadn't seen the light of day. And so it's not often I see something that I hadn't seen before, and there's a lot of that in this documentary.
Guys, it's a long way to the finish line. I'll let you go, but congratulations. Enjoy your night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
We're going to take a quick break right now, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Another update on weather and traffic in just 2 minutes, and the more of the day's top headlines at 7:30.
Good morning. 59 degrees. It's current temperature. We'll warm back up in the 60s in a hurry within the next 30 minutes. 54 degrees around Hickory and then 47 in Boone. This is the low. This is the cold of the day. And then we're right back up near 80 degrees, upper 70s. Feeling amazing. It's dry. It's comfortable. And we got those Carolina blues out and about under a mostly sunny sky. Enjoy today. Our Guy Roofing 70 forecast shows that it is going to be chilly by tomorrow morning, dropping down to the lower 50s. More clouds for your Saturday. Also some blossoming rain chance, especially during your Sunday evening and Monday evening. Best chance for rain is Tuesday. Majestic, what's going on traffic-wise? Been very busy.
Yeah, we are tracking an ongoing accident. It's a pedestrian accident. WCNC crews are on scene right now. Hoskins Road is now closed. Now, our crews have said that they have seen a victim, but are still learning more on their conditions. Want to change it over to our live traffic maps now to give you perspective on this. We are seeing that slowdown right there, and our crews are saying it's right between North Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave, so avoid that area at this time because of that pedestrian accident. I-77 northbound lanes at Gilead Road also seeing a major slowdown because of an ongoing accident. Of course, it's going to be a very busy travel weekend with Memorial Day weekend here. Make sure you're driving with caution and taking it easy over the next several days.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 7:30 on this Friday. I'm Megan Bragg.
And I'm Lisa Washington. A third person is facing charges this morning in the disappearance of a stolen French bulldog named Julio.
Court records show Kendra Hunter is now facing charges. She's the mother of the teens charged in Julio's kidnapping. Unfortunately, the dog is still missing. Now the owner tells WCNC Charlotte Siobhan Riley she's still searching for closure.
Jayla Gittens told me by phone she is desperate to reunite with her dog Julio, a 6-year-old French bulldog. He was stolen from her car April 6 while Gittens was moving boxes from her Charlotte apartment.
It's very stressful. I'm anxious all the time. I think about it all the time. And it's just like every day, you know, you're reminded of it. And there's like a violation, too, in that somebody can steal from you.
Her Honda Civic was also stolen during the incident. 2 minors are charged in the case. While CMPD later recovered Gittens' car in the Mallard Creek area, there's still no sign of Julio.
Just do the right thing and be over with it. I mean, it's not worth getting a felony charge over stealing somebody's dog.
Despite the arrest of 37-year-old Kendra Hunter, Gittens says the pain hasn't gone away.
For some reason, it's just become this long, drawn-out, situation when it should just be when you take something, you give it back. So I think I'm more frustrated at the parents in the situation than even the kids.
Court records reveal investigators were able to link Hunter to the case through a ransom photo sent to Gittens. Hunter has been charged with felony possession of stolen goods and property.
I started getting messages basically asking for money in exchange for my dog, and I really couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, and I really couldn't believe that it was somebody's mother in the photo. That was just shocking to me that anyone would participate in that and not want to make their kid do the right thing.
Gittens is still holding out hope that someone will help her find Julio and finally give her the closure she needs.
I feel like this can't go on forever, especially considering, adults have now been charged.
There is a $5,000 reward in this case for any information leading to an arrest. Gittens is also offering her own $2,500 reward to anyone who can bring her dog home.
All right, Chris, what about an update on our forecast for this Friday, the start of the holiday weekend?
Well, I'm happy where everything is turning out, and we'll get to that 7-day in a sec, but today is one of the best days. We're having a nice mix of cloud and sunshine right now, especially south and southeast of Charlotte. That's what we're looking at right now through our Monroe camera here, just around the downtown area. And 79 is going to be our high for today. Temperatures in the 50s right now for most of us. We'll be in the 60s before you know it, and then the lower 70s by about noon. A perfect lunchtime. Not as windy as yesterday. Yesterday, boy, by the late afternoon, it was really blowing all over the place. I had some decently large branches actually come down from some of those gusts. And then today, we still have them gusts up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour, but not too bad. All smiles. Our muggy meter feeling super comfortable. The reason why I deem today the pick of the week, it's not as windy, but also this comfortable air, this spring-like feel is going to disappear. We know how that goes. Once you get to June, it's going to be a rarity that it feels this great. And even though many of you may prefer the 80s, these upper 70s is going to become more of a rare time. The next time you have the 70s, really later in June, July, and August, usually has to rain and be super cloudy. So a sunny day in the upper 70s, take advantage of it while we have it. Maximum wind gusts yesterday, as I mentioned, it was ripping and roaring at times, up to about 36 mile per hour gusts with Statesville, Lincolnton, and Hickory, 44 for you in Boone, over 50 miles per hour in parts of Ashe County and around Jefferson and West Jefferson. Today, it's more of a fresh breeze. I love showing you this because I think it's a great tool. Sir Francis Beaufort back in the 1800s came up with this. That's 19 to 24 mile per hour breeze is categorized as what we call a fresh breeze. That just means small trees are going to be swaying in the breeze, and those leaves start to kind of do this and turn upside down. That's also a big weather myth. A lot of people say, oh, the upside down leaves means the thunderstorms come. The only reason why that happens is the outflow of thunderstorms can do the same thing as a gusty wind, just like what we have today. Now you know. Our Saturday wind gusts, gentle, up to about a 12 mile per hour breeze, so much lighter by tomorrow. Here's a look at our futurecast, showing you exactly what I just showed you, but in a simpler form. You have that 20 to 22 mile per hour gusts spiking around 4 o'clock, and then we get to simmer down heading into the evening. Tonight, chilly. the coolest that we have for the rest of the week and perhaps going forward. 49 in Hickory, 53 degrees in Charlotte. You might have noticed that there was a little bit of a bite to the air the last couple of days. That's that cooler, drier air. Also, you got to put it in perspective. We literally had some lows that were around 70 degrees, and all of a sudden you start off in the 50s. It's a noticeable difference. And by tomorrow, being even 6 to 8 degrees cooler than what we've had for this morning's lows, that is going to be a chilly factor. A lot of you might be sleeping through that, and after that, it's pretty much business as usual. The lower 60s are common for the end of May and starting off June, and that's exactly what we have. Hourly forecast for tomorrow. There's one big difference. The cloud cover and the winds are a little bit lighter. That cloud cover is not going to give way to any sort of rain showers, though, so all is well for the Charlotte FC match versus Columbus. Temperature starting off in the mid-70s, so divinity. And then we have the mid-60s by about 11 p.m. Game will be well over at that point. The only reason why I'm showing you this is I don't know your temperature tolerance. If the 60s with no sunshine are cool for you, then maybe you want to have your Charlotte FC sweatshirt. I think it's really comfortable range as that sun setting after 8 o'clock. Close to about 8:30. Rainfall chances, here we go. Tuesday, standing out from all the rest, but I now have a 30% chance for Sunday. Sunday's really an interesting setup, and we'll get there. Today we have passing clouds. Tomorrow you have some clouds that are mixing throughout the day. But look at this change for your Sunday. Check it out. So Saturday, we start to clear things out overnight. But then, once we get to your Sunday morning, the clouds return, where I think both Sunday and Monday are much cloudier than what we have certainly today and tomorrow. But we see our first signs of rain really south of I-85 starting on Sunday morning. This is not a surefire bet that this rain is going to hit the surface because we're super dry right now. But I do think once we get to your Sunday evening, there is a chance, especially south of Monroe for some of our South Carolina counties, for even a thunderstorm to try to pop up, or a light to moderate, sometime heavier rain shower. And that rain will also start to expand a little bit more widespread during your Sunday late evening heading into Monday, which could impact the Coca-Cola 600. For my next weather hit, we're going to take a deeper dive into that. We're also going to talk about the new prediction for hurricane season because the Atlantic 2025 hurricane season officially starts not this Sunday, but next Sunday. But we got to wait for that first. We have to check your morning commute to see what is going on with Majestic Storm.
All right, good Friday morning, everyone. We are still watching a very active situation. Hoskins Road is right here live on your TV screen. The WCNC crew is there because of a pedestrian accident this morning. You can see police officers are there and this road is closed. Our crew did say there was a victim there, still learning about their current conditions though. So if you typically drive that way, you'll want to avoid that problem that is ongoing. Want to show you that perspective here in our live traffic maps. So again, North Hoskins Road, that's where it happened, and our crews are saying it's right there between Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave. Ongoing backups, make sure you're just avoiding that situation and avoiding just that area for now. If you are traveling on I-77 northbound lanes at Gilead Road, there's also an accident there. Starting to see more red popping up, indicating stop and go conditions. We're also getting new information that Wilkinson Boulevard at Old Still Creek is actually closed right now because there is an ongoing crash. You can see those backups there, so that's also another place that you'll want to avoid. This is I-77 North. I wanted to show you our closest camera showing you how slow traffic is moving. Remember, this is where we do have that ongoing accident at Gilead Road. That's exit 23. We're going to have more on your drive times, and we're going to be talking about the best and worst time to travel for your Memorial Day weekend coming up straight ahead.
Thanks, Majestic. New video this morning shows the terrifying moments after a small plane crashed into a San Diego neighborhood. We brought you this as breaking news yesterday right here on WCNC Plus. You can see the sky light up after that plane went down yesterday morning. Now an investigation is underway. Authorities say 6 people were on board the plane at the time. At least 3 are dead. 8 others are injured. Jeanette Quezada reports on the community still traumatized about what happened.
Kenneth Wilkerson's family was one of dozens who were evacuated after the crash.
My wife and my daughter, they run outside and then they see that there's a fire, and then this guy is like, oh, should we wake people up? And my daughter's like, we need to wake everybody up.
The man he's referring to is Kenneth Morgan.
I leaned my head out the door and I saw like all the orange in the sky, and it was so hazy out. I thought it was smoke immediately.
The impact woke him up, and he immediately started waking up others.
Everybody was running around, going crazy, and there was nothing but flames. People were out there with their water hoses and trying to help with, the flames and everything. And the jet fuel had made a line all the way down every single car on the street on the right side, and literally they were all just blowing up one after the other.
He says neighbors were doing everything in their power to get one family to safety.
They were completely selfless. They put moved their trampoline up against the fence, and the people who needed to get out of their yard on the street that was affected jumped over their fence, climbed the ladder, jumped over the fence, and jumped onto the trampoline just to get their 2 dogs, her 2 kids, and herself out of the house. Her husband wasn't even home.
At the evacuation sites, members of the community and service members brought in pallets of donations. Everyone working together to meet the immediate needs.
Stay strong.
9-year-old Aiden Young showed his support by posting these hearts around the neighborhood to give love and encouragement to all those affected.
Even though they're having a really bad day and stuff is sad, I help them and give them happy thoughts.
Well, right now, lawmakers are debating President Trump's big, beautiful bill. The measure is now headed to the Senate after passing through the House. The bill delivers a slew of President Trump's campaign promises, including extending tax cuts, eliminating taxes on tips and overtime, and billions in funding for the border wall and mass deportation. The bill also makes changes to Medicaid with new work requirements for all adults without dependents to stay on the program. However, it's getting some pushback from senators.
We are stealing from our children and grandchildren, and that's why there's no way I'm going to vote for this bill in its current form.
And I encourage our Senate colleagues to think of this as a one-team effort, as we have, and to modify this as little as possible, because it will make it easier for us to get it over the line ultimately and finished and get it to the president's desk by July 4th.
Speaker Mike Johnson says the full budget package will be on the president's desk by July 4th. Well, this morning, the Jewish community is mourning the loss of 2 embassy staffers after they were shot and killed outside of a museum in D.C.
NBC's Alice Barr has details on the new charges the gunman is facing this morning.
In the aftermath of the deadly shooting of 2 Israeli embassy staff members outside the Capitol Jewish Museum, shock is giving way to grief for the young couple killed, 30-year-old Yaron Lashinsky and 26-year-old Sarah Milgram.
She was as close to perfect as any human could be.
Sarah's father recalling her love of learning and her desire for peace, including a recent summer job.
The purpose of the organization was to bring young Palestinians and young Israelis together.
A bright future cut short by a bullet. Investigators say fired by this man, 31-year-old Elias Rodriguez.
Both an act of terror and directed violence against the Jewish community, and it has the full and unwavering attention of the FBI.
Witnesses say Rodriguez walked into the museum after the shooting, mistaken for an innocent bystander for several minutes until police arrived.
He walked right up to them. He turned himself in and said, I did this for Gaza. And then he started his chants of Free Palestine.
Rodriguez now faces multiple charges, including first-degree murder and murder of foreign officials. FBI agents searched his Chicago apartment and are investigating what could be his online writings. Top officials from Capitol Hill to President Trump to Israel's prime minister condemning the attack, as those closest to the couple, who were on the verge of getting engaged, are left grappling with an enormous loss.
We have great memories, but the future is gone.
Hoping now for justice and peace. Here in D.C., police are increasing their presence at public gatherings around the city, while across the country, security is ramping up at synagogues and other centers for the Jewish community. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Right now, CMPD needs your help finding a missing teen. Take a look at your screen. This is 13-year-old Serenity George. Police say she was last seen on Orchard Trace Lane in North Charlotte. If you do see her or know where she might be, please call 911 immediately.
The Fort Mill School District has a new superintendent this morning. The Board of Trustees selected Gray Young to fill the position. The current superintendent, Chuck Epps, is retiring at the end of the school year after more than 40 years of service.
Well, Burkdale Village is up for sale once again. It comes just 1 year after getting a new owner. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King went to the area and spoke to residents to get their thoughts on the change.
And many people here told me they like the direction this area has gone under its recent ownership. So they say with this change, they can only be hopeful about what's to come.
We love progress. We love community amenities, and would love to see the continued growth in the area.
Change is underway for residents in Huntersville as Burkdale Village has been listed for sale once again.
It definitely went downhill for several years, and we stopped coming during that time, and just over the last maybe 5 years or so, it's really made a comeback.
This decision comes just 1 year after getting a new owner and 2 months after Huntersville leaders approved their recent expansion plan.
It seems like as soon as something's gone out, we have something coming right in for it. So it's growing fast.
In a statement, Burkdale Village leaders told us, quote, investors have made the decision to market the property after almost 19 years of ownership. And they will continue to believe in the long-term opportunity of the property and are seeking to remain in the transaction through its process. Residents say with the potential changes underway, they have their own ideas of what they would like to see.
Just more like stores for our age. It's like you have to be 18 in order to go in. But if you don't have a parent, which half the time none of the kids do because they're just walking around for fun, they won't let you in.
It's one of the only last safe places for them.
Things are going good, but I'm excited to see the new opportunities coming here. Hopefully it will bring us more business.
In Huntersville, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
7:46 now. It is time to connect the dots. When we make the news make sense. Hurricane season starts June 1st, and forecasters are sounding the alarm this morning.
Forecasters say this hurricane season could be a busy one. Let's connect the dots. NOAA is predicting up to 19 named storms in the Atlantic. Of those, up to 10 could become hurricanes, and up to 5 could be major. The forecast doesn't say if or where they'll hit, but experts say now is the time to get ready. Above average ocean temperatures are one big reason for the forecast. The extra heat helps fuel storms, and is linked to climate change. Another factor, stronger winds off Africa that can spin up storms heading west. Hurricane season officially runs from June 1st to November 30th. Last year brought 18 named storms and 11 hurricanes, 2 of which caused deadly damage. Even with staffing shortages at local offices, NOAA says the National Hurricane Center is fully prepared. Bottom line, don't wait until a storm is coming. Stock up early, have a plan, and stay weather alert. And that's connecting the dots.
And we just want to mention, as you can see at the bottom of your screen, we do have that breaking news that we will continue to follow. That pedestrian that was hit, that's going to be on Hoskins and Tennessee Ave. We do know that both streets are blocked right now, causing some traffic issues. Majestic will come back and, of course, talk about that for you. But we just wanted you to be aware that we will have that at the bottom of our screen for you. And as we talk about the upcoming hurricane season, North Carolina's top insurance officials say now is the time to get ready.
The warning comes nearly 8 months after Hurricane Helene slammed western North Carolina, killing 107 people and causing nearly $60 billion in damage. Commissioner Mike Causey is urging everyone to check their insurance, gather important documents, and make a home inventory. He warns that flood damage isn't covered by most homeowners' policies and says there is a 30-day waiting period for new flood insurance. So important to keep in mind. We don't think about it now because the weather is great, but the season is coming and we need to be as prepared as possible.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier. The biggest problem that we've seen in the last decade is storms are moving slower. And we've seen a lot of this. Florence in 2018, how it's pretty much stalled over here in the Carolinas, giving us multiple flash flood emergencies. Harvey back in 2017. Dorian literally was moving at nothing. 1 to 0 miles per hour over the Bahamas. And then it was also Helene that slowed down once it got over here as well.
Yes.
So that's why we really have to be mindful where it's not just along the shoreline, it's the inland areas that also need that flood insurance as well. I want to talk a little bit more about why we're predicting what we're predicting for this coming hurricane season. And this right here is your ocean temperatures anomaly. All this means, are they above average or are they below average? As we all know, it's the warm ocean waters that drive up the intensity of our hurricane season. And that's why it's usually around September, where we have our peak ocean temperatures, that we have the worst hurricanes and the right conditions. It is not a good scenario that water temperatures right now for the month of May are at 88 to 89 degrees in Southwest Florida. That is well above normal, and some of these water temperatures were in the upper 90s of last year in the same area. And think about this stretch. That's where Milton intensified right through this area. Helene became a Category 4 with those warm Gulf waters. You don't need temperatures this warm, so we already are looking at record temperatures for the month of May. That's not a good scenario. So that's piece number one to this hurricane puzzle. The other one is a lot more complicated. Probably heard of El Nino before, but didn't really understand it. All this is just a temperature of a band of water pretty much west of South America will control what the globe does for our temperatures. There's El Nino that can be either weak to strong, or there's the La Nina, which is the opposite of La Nina and El Nino. But all you really need to know here is that whenever you're in a neutral phase, that means that there's really no significant impact to how the global flow around the United States, how across the world will go. It's just pretty much business as usual. But that also can affect your hurricane season. So anytime it's La Nada or to La Nina, that's actually going to be more favorable for an above average hurricane season. So since we're not looking at the worst of worst conditions, they're calling for really an average to above average season. So on average, we have 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. A major hurricane, by the way, is Category 3 or greater. So NC State, Colorado State, and the National Hurricane Center are the 3 that always make predictions each and every year. CSU loves to be spot on with the 17, the 9, and the 4. Last year, they predicted a much bigger season because it was La Nina, and that's the year that, like 2005, Katrina and everything that was going on there. Right. But I still think that you're going to have an above average season. And last year, it almost looked like, hey, this isn't going to be that bad. But you saw what happened by the back end of it. You had Helene, and then quickly you had Milton, and actually you had Beryl that was the earliest Category 5 storm on record. So take this with a grain of salt. You could have 19 storms, but it only takes just one to be remembered, just as we had Milton and Helene of last year. So that's what this is really saying. It's always going to be that August to September to October that things get the worst, and we'll keep you updated in the meantime.
And in the meantime, make that plan. Make sure you have that inventory, as we just said, of your home items and insurance if possible.
And great explanation, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was good, breaking it down for us.
Very, very much so.
Yeah, meteorology, and that's what we usually try to do here. A lot of stuff, especially what's called the Enso cycle, it's complicated. It really is. But the one thing in meteorology you have to realize is that that's why it can be maddening. Oh, you have a 5% chance, a 60% chance. Just picture that you have a bunch of ingredients that are all stacked up. If you have a few of them, you have a chance. But then as things start to really compile themselves, it starts to get worse and worse for maybe severe weather, whatever it is. For this coming hurricane season, I would say that you probably have 2 of the 3 big factors that can lead to a well above average season, and that's why all of them are kind of coming to agree with that. Especially here in the Carolinas, we have at least a 75% chance that we'll have a tropical storm at some point in the season.
Wow, just looking at the temperature of the water.
That's bad. It's not good.
Not good. All right. Well, speaking of not great, let's check in with Majestic now, because she is checking the morning commute and a couple of things going on.
Let's get to the most important thing right off the top. We are tracking a pedestrian accident. We've been following it now for at least the last hour. Our WCNC crews are on scene. You can see police officers are there, and the road is currently blocked. Our crew said that there is a victim that they saw, and they're still continuing to learn more about the conditions. But again, this is what we know now. I'm going to change it over to my live traffic maps to show you exactly what's going on, just to give you a different perspective. So again, the accident is on North Hoskins Road, but our crew says it intersects right there at Tennessee Ave. So we're seeing those backups there. If you have to travel around this area, again, the road is blocked, so take a different route. I also want to let you know right now, parts of Wilkinson Boulevard is closed because of a crash at Old Creek Road. You can see those backups there, all of that red indicating stop and go traffic. Heading up to the north now, I-77 Gilead Road, there's also another accident that is ongoing. So there it is, that slowdown there. And then our closest camera to that accident, it looks like this. This is I-77 northbound lanes moving very slowly this morning because, well, it usually does, but now we have an accident that is ongoing. Drive times this morning, if you're coming into Charlotte from Waxhaw, it's going to take you about 47 minutes, just over 20 minutes if you're coming in from Matthews.
Well, time now for a look at what's up this weekend. Today, start your weekend on a delicious note with University City Food Truck Friday. You can enjoy the city's favorite food trucks, live music, and beer. It's happening at Armored Cow Brewing on J.W. Clay Boulevard from 5 p.m. until late. Right now, we are going to take a quick break, but make sure you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We'll have another update on weather and traffic in about 2 minutes, and then Megan and I will have the day's top stories streaming live right here on WCNC Plus starting at 8.
Good morning, everybody. Get ready for a fantastic day. I think we have a little more cloud cover to start off the morning, then we'll have a nice, mostly sunny day. Partly cloudy at times at most. Still a fantastic day. Less breezy than what we had yesterday, which is always a nice little treat. Temperatures in the mid to the upper 70s, a little bit cooler in the 60s up in the mountains, but still enjoy it. It's comfortable, and you will have an occasional gust up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. On average, we have a high of 82 and a low of 60. Tomorrow morning is actually going to be the coldest morning of the week. Some of us dropping down to the upper 40s to kick off your Saturday. Saturday, no rain, but we do have an increasing threat for rain, mainly during the evening hours on Sunday, and most rain will fall on Tuesday heading into the afternoon. Majestic, you've had an active start. What do people need to know?
Well, some sad news this morning. We can now confirm that one person has died right here. This is on Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave, where we've been following a pedestrian accident. You can see the road is blocked off. Emergency responders are still on scene. And this is really the biggest news that we've been following this morning as far as those road conditions go. I want to switch it over now to our live traffic maps. You can see the backups here. So if you typically take North Hoskins Road, avoid it at all costs. Those roads are now blocked because one person did die this morning because of an ongoing accident. Roads are closed on Wilkinson Road at Old Steel Creek Road. We'll let you know more updates as they come in.
Streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8 a.m. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg in for Ben.
Happening today, Charlotte City Council member Tijuana Brown is expected to plead not guilty in federal court today. She's accused of illegally getting COVID relief money and using it for personal expenses.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning with details on today's hearing and those accusations. Good morning, Destiny.
Good morning. Yeah, in just a few hours, Councilwoman Tijuana Brown is expected to enter into that not guilty plea in federal court. She's facing multiple charges, as we've been talking about. And in a federal indictment, it says that she and her daughters fraudulently obtained more than $124,000 in COVID relief funding. Now, those documents claim that Brown and her two daughters submitted false documentation, including incorrect tax forms to secure pandemic relief loans. Investigators say one of those loans, meant for business expenses, was used instead to pay for Brown's birthday party. That party included a rented throne, a horse-drawn carriage, and was featured on her nonprofit's Instagram page. Brown admits to receiving $20,833, but says she repaid it.
No one had to tell me to pay it back. When I found out that there may have been some stipulations and how the application was processed, I paid it back.
And Brown also says the loans were forgiven, but prosecutors allege that forgiveness came through falsified documents. Now, her attorney says that she can't comment any further, including on what the funds were spent on. That happened at the press conference yesterday, but she is calling all of this a politically motivated attack. She says she has no plans to resign from Charlotte City Council, and she even plans to run again in November. We know she's facing 2 counts of federal fraud, and each count carries a 20-year sentence in prison if she ends up getting convicted. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Uptown.
And Destiny, we know that not every PPP fraud case leads to an indictment. Do we know why prosecutors chose to pursue criminal charges here instead of just the civil penalties?
Yeah, so we know that this is a situation where they're saying basically this is a case of classic fraud and that the defendants know what they're doing. We actually learned that the U.S. attorney spoke to WFAE this week, and they said that the government generally reserves criminal charges for, again, what they call classic fraud, meaning fake businesses, falsified tax documents, and knowingly lying under oath. In this case, prosecutors say that's exactly what happened. And again, the defendants knew what they're doing. So they believe that Tijuana Brown and her daughters, that this was not something that happened by accident. They say that this was a calculated situation where they intended to use the money for things that that were not related to COVID relief funding. And as we know, Councilwoman Brown is saying that this is not, she's saying that she is innocent in this situation. And of course, we'll find out more once federal court happens in a couple of hours.
All right, Destiny, thank you so much for that live report. Right now, we are going to take a live look at Myrtle Beach. Isn't this just gorgeous? I mean, really. It almost deserves a moment of silence because that's just like breathtakingly beautiful. Am I right?
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. If you're heading to the beach this weekend, do enjoy. That's really a beautiful shot there.
Take us with you.
Okay, I'm not going, but we can all take a moment to take this in, Chris. And we have good weather here. If you're not going to the beach, you know what? Today's a good one, right?
Yeah, no, everything's great. We got lakes. Look at that. Lake Norman's great. That's just as good.
We got lakes.
We got lakes. Yeah, if you go to Jeton Park, there's a little strip of sand on the lake. So yeah, we got it. It's similar. Blue sky regardless wherever you go. Some distance clouds you can see here on our Dallas camera. And today versus yesterday, it's going to be significantly less windy. It's a breezy day still with some wind gusts getting up to about 20 miles per hour. By the way, the technical definition per the National Weather Service of a windy day is wind gusts that are usually over 25 miles per hour. And that's exactly what we have. Today is categorically breezy with winds at about 15 to 25 max. Tomorrow, we barely have a wind gust, maybe up to about 15 miles per hour, so winds even lighter by tomorrow. Highs today in the upper 70s. We're close to 80 degrees. I could be wrong and we hit 80 degrees, but I think we're going to be so close, could be a mere decimal away from 80 degrees. Did have 78, but I upgraded by 1. Power that sunshine going to help us out. But we do have winds out of the northwest. I already mentioned the windy status, but the direction is a big deal. Yesterday was out of the southwest, so that dragged in a little extra heat. We also started off a little bit cooler than we did yesterday, so the starting point, since we're a little set back, that's why we have about a 5-degree difference compared to yesterday's above average of 84. And then by tomorrow, because of the additional cloud cover, we have the mid to the upper 70s, near 80 degrees on Sunday, and then boom, down to the upper 60s on Tuesday with a good chance for rain. What are you doing this evening? Well, it's going to feel amazing, but by the back end of it, it'll start to feel chilly. By tomorrow morning, if you thought this morning had a chill to it, just wait. 53 degrees. Now, this is nowhere near record breaking. It still would be one of the 20th or 21st, I think is what I looked at, coldest morning that we've had on May 24th. So not anything substantial, but still one of the cooler May 24th in Charlotte history. And then about 49 degrees along the I-40 corridor. This is the coolest low of the week, because good news after this, temperatures start to come up. We have the classic setup of what's called radiational cooling. That's when you have a clear sky, a light wind that maximizes our cool down. Sunrise at 6:14. And as you can see, Saturday is on its own. Then after that, we're back to the normal of about 60 to 61 going forward into next week. The big change in the forecast is, 1, it'll start to feel more humid next week, but 2, our rain chances start to return as well. Let's roll tape. Here's what it looks like. Passing clouds today, all in all, a mostly sunny one. Tomorrow, it's a partly sunny day, so you're still going to see some areas of sunshine, but at times it will be cloudier than others. We're rain-free for your Saturday. It's Sunday where things change. Let me get my dome out of the way. I was blocking the time there. You have Sunday at 6 a.m., nothing to worry about. By the early afternoon, we're starting to see a chance for a rain shower. There's a lot of dry air, so oftentimes this won't actually come to fruition. What I think could happen is you could have some sprinkles, barely a light rain shower south of I-85. I think it's a better chance to be heavier into your Sunday evening. Why this is significant, by 9 o'clock, it'll be heavier down towards the south. The Coca-Cola 600 does have a chance to end in a little bit of light rain, so just kind of keep that in mind. My fingers are crossed that we can keep the rain down to the south before it starts to spread in. Not a lot of rain, just letting you know it is going to be there with a much better chance for rain again heading into your Tuesday. I'll have more on that long-range forecast as far as our rain goes coming up. But first, we have to head over to Majestic, where it has been really a turn in the traffic world.
It has. It's a sad morning. We can now confirm by medics that one person has died this morning after it did encounter a pedestrian accident. It got hit by a car. That person did, and we are there on scene, our WCNC crews. It's right there on Hoskins Road in Tennessee Ave. So if you have to take this route, you're going to want to avoid it at all costs and get around it, because as you can see, emergency responders are still on scene. Let's switch it on over now to my live traffic maps. I want to get exactly to where that is still ongoing. You can see those slowdowns there. Again, Hoskins Road, and right there at Tennessee Ave is where the accident happened. Even as we zoom it on out, though, you can see this is becoming a pretty congested area. As we head to the south, this is another big ongoing problem this morning. There is a crash that's really making for some big slowdowns this morning on Highway 74 at Old Steel Creek Road. That's where we do have roads that are blocked off. They're closed both inbound and outbound lanes. Medics also responding to that, saying that one person does have serious injuries and one person currently has minor injuries. To the north, I've been reporting on this I-77 crash that has since been cleared, but traffic is still going to be congested on I-77 north. If you are heading out of town for the Memorial Day weekend, a few things you may want to know. The best and worst times for travel. Today, the best time to leave will be before 11 a.m. Tomorrow, make sure you're heading out of town before noon. And here's a look at some of those worst times to be out on those roads. Today, anytime after noon through 8 p.m. and tomorrow, anytime between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m.
Majestic, thank you. This weekend is the unofficial kickoff to summer, and AAA is already predicting record-breaking travel across North Carolina. 1.3 million North Carolinians are expected to travel at least 50 miles for Memorial Day weekend. That's about 50,000 more than last year. This comes as gas prices dropped to their lowest since 2021. North Carolina averaging $2.87 a gallon. In South Carolina, it's $2.80. At the airports, TSA says it's ready for a busy summer travel season here in North Carolina. Data shows more than 8 million people traveled through state airports last summer. And Charlotte Douglas says 6 of its 10 busiest days last year revolved around summer travel. This is the first major travel holiday since President Trump's tariffs went into effect.
And several companies announcing they are holding steady on pricing, at least for now. NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans has those details this morning.
On the cusp of one of the biggest sale weekends of the year, shoppers are paying attention to prices.
OMG, when did this cheese become $12?
On Wednesday, Target reported weaker sales in its first quarter, but it is not raising prices just yet. Amazon's CEO also revealing the company hasn't, quote, seen any meaningful average selling price increases, and he says consumers keep spending.
I am in Walmart and I am looking for the baby pull-ups. Why are the pull-ups $30?
Amazon and Target's announcements coming after the nation's largest retailer, Walmart, says it's been forced to raise some costs for customers as soon as this month.
We're wired to keep prices low for customers. But the level of tariffs that have been proposed is pretty challenging for all retailers, for suppliers.
And as some retailers brace for tariffs to hit, NBC News has learned that Nike will hike prices on select footwear and apparel, but nothing under $100. Nike saying in a statement, "We regularly evaluate our business and make pricing adjustments as part of our seasonal planning."
Memorial Day savings start now at the Home Depot.
But just as the Memorial Day weekend sales begin, some good news from home improvement giant Home Depot, vowing to keep prices steady despite rising costs from tariffs.
We don't see broad-based price increases for our customers at all going forward.
A strategy that could benefit business.
If you have the same products or very similar for lower prices, it'd be hard for a consumer to justify going somewhere else.
Coca-Cola says it's sticking to current pricing plans for the year. And Apple says it's moving production for iPhones sold in the U.S. from China to India to offset costs. Signs that companies want to stay on consumers' good side.
Companies always want to do what's best for the consumer, frankly, because at the end of the day, it also is what's best for them.
Christine Romans with that report.
And this weekend, like we've been saying, marks the unofficial start of summer, which also means the start of boating season.
WCNC Charlotte's meteorologist Chris Mulcahy is taking us out on the water this morning to raise our weather IQ on how the forecast can rock your lake day.
The weather affects everything you do outside, including boating. Let's raise that weather IQ. I'm gonna need a bigger boat. We're here at Freedom Boat Club, right here on Lake Wiley, and Captain Ben and crew says they're ready to get us out on the water. Let's go! When you're the captain of your ship, well, I'm not the captain, he's the captain, you need to be weather aware when you're out in the water.
That's right, Chris. Yeah, you want to make sure you're watching a radar at all times. You know, things can go bad really quickly out here. Keep an eye on the skies, keep an eye on your phone, look at that radar app. It's perfect.
You know, speaking of, the WCNC Charlotte app is a great tool to bring with you out in the boat because it has live radar. But try not to drop your phone. Oh no, that was my wife's phone. And when you're having a blast in the boat, you might forget one crucial thing. While out in the water, you're more likely to burn than beached on land, so make sure to have plenty of sunscreen. And why is that? Well, the water reflects about 10% of the sun's rays. It's called albedo, and that's the reflectivity of surfaces that could reflect that sun right back at you. And don't underestimate a cloudy day, it could burn you just as much. In my career, I've seen many thunderstorms form over the lake. One early on in my career actually blew the boats from their docks. Also, lightning's attracted to water, making you more of a target. So whenever you hear thunder, I would race for the docks. Arr, because when a storm be brewing,
your seas will become angry. I don't know how to tie knots.
And as Captain Ben tells us, if you can feel the wind, it's going to affect the way the boat drives.
You can notice a difference with just 5 to 10 miles an hour of wind. You know, I don't think you can feel anything below about 5 miles an hour, but if you can feel it, it's affecting the way that your boat's driving.
But the most important thing is have fun while being safe, and of course know what the weather's going to do. I'm meteorologist Chris Mulcahy with another Weather IQ.
There he goes. Had a great time out there, I see.
I had so much fun.
Yeah. Don't lose your wife's cell phone, though. Not a good idea.
Not a great
She didn't know it anyways, right? No? No? Okay.
But it is important to stay safe. You know, the moral of the story is, and if it gets too windy, take precaution.
Yeah, no, and Majestic was bringing this up earlier. The cell phone bit, of course, was a joke, but like seriously, it is a really good idea to have out there because the storms could sneak up on you, and that could really turn a great boat day into a disaster.
Yeah, even if you just, aren't specifically looking at radar, but you just get those notifications sent to your phone like, oh, okay, I should pay attention to this. Because sometimes when you're out just having fun, the weather's the last thing that you're thinking about.
Right. Have the WCNC mobile app.
Yeah, it's great. And here is a great shot of what Lake Norman looks like. Look at that, just as good as the Myrtle Beach shot that we showed you. Beautiful blue skies, and actually you see some active people that are probably getting ready to go out on the boat. However, it is a cool start to the day. We're back into the 60s, but we did dip down into the 50s. Yeah, the upper 50s right here around Lake Norman. And not to take one from Majestic, but you see I-77 traffic pushing along just fine over there. Here around Davidson is where this Lake Norman camera is. And then we also are looking at a decent day throughout the afternoon. We have the mid to the upper 70s, near 80 degrees, a mostly sunny day. At times it could be partly cloudy, and that's mainly this morning. As far as those wind gusts go, I think they're ranging about 10 to 15, as much of a gust to about 25 by the afternoon. As in Captain Ben said, when you feel the wind, it could affect the way that you're boating, so just keep that in mind. Either side of 60 degrees, if you're not boating, that's all right. You can devote yourself to be outside. 63 degrees, nice little jump from the 59 that we had around Charlotte. 62 in Monroe, and then also 47 in Boone. Next hour, you'll be back into the 50s. High temperatures near that 80-degree point. All right. Get outside and enjoy my pick of the week. Here's our wind range, about 19 to 24 miles per hour. So the leaves and the small trees are going to be swaying today, but a much lighter breeze by tomorrow. And then our maximum wind gusts are right today. Believe it or not, we did gust up to about 21 miles per hour. That happened around midnight. Also, that 36 mile per hour gust is fairly recent, so it is still going to be a little bit on the breezier side for the mountains. Here's your wind forecast going forward. I think you could have some winds up to about 20 to 25 to complete the afternoon, 25 to 30 for you up in the high country. So technically, I think we've already hit our peak wind gust. We could match it again around Charlotte. And then by tomorrow, don't worry about it. It's a whole lot of nothing. So it's really something great that we have to look forward to. Our guy Roofing 7-day forecast, here it is. For your Charlotte FC game, I think it's going to be really delightful. Actually, I have a specific graphic. I'm going to show you that one. But the Charlotte FC game, I like what we're going to see here, because you're going to start off in the mid-70s, so it's going to be fairly comfortable overall. But by the end of the game, wear your favorite Charlotte FC sweatshirt, because that's a bit cool. Mid to the upper 60s without sunshine, yeah, you're going to be feeling that. Now, it depends on your temperature tolerance. If you're fine at that, that's fine. But I know a lot of us who maybe lived up north are now desensitized to the cold around here. Just really keep that in mind. I know I'm that. I was much harder 7 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, it hits the 60s. I'm like, oh, that's chilly. Now, by the end of the week, we are going to see in that slight uptick in the rain. I think it's on Sunday. Sunday evening is our best chance for rain. It's really iffy. It's going to impact the Coca-Cola 600. I think the start of that race is fine. Showers likely in the area to the south. The good news for us, we have a lot of dry air. That's why it's so comfortable. It's going to be tough to overcome. Monday, Memorial Day, overall trending to be dry for most of it. But we do have a slight chance for rain in the morning, and then again later on in the evening. And I would say it's really Tuesday late morning in the afternoon, we could have several hours of rain. So Tuesday by far is the wettest, the coolest, and the cloudiest day. So 3 not great superlatives to describe that one. And then we're back to the upper 70s on Wednesday and Thursday. Really by the end of the month, so the last days of May, believe it or not, our next Friday and Saturday, temperatures will be back to the lower 80s or back to normal at that point. But we'll also head back into more of a humid pattern. That's why, again, I'm going to reiterate today is my pick of the week because it feels fantastic and you got to take advantage of these drier spring-like days. Well, we can still call them spring. Now we transition over to Majestic Storm, who has been tracking a lot of big incidents so far this morning.
Yeah, and this one's a sad one. We've been following it now for quite some time. One person has been killed because of a pedestrian accident. A person got hit by a car this morning, leading to one death. Our WCNC crews, they are on scene. This is a live look of the ongoing situation right there on the corner of Hoskins Road, that's North Hoskins Road, and Tennessee Ave. So avoid this at all costs as they are dealing with that ongoing scene. Let's switch it over to my live traffic maps. I'm going to show you right now, zooming it on into that specific location. You can see those slowdowns here, and you can see those different colors just indicating slow moving traffic. So just avoid it. You can see even as we zoom it on out, we're seeing some congestion right around that area. I want to get to this. We've been following Highway 74 being closed, both inbound and outbound lanes, with some injuries reported. That has since been cleared. We're now all looking at green on the screen out that way. And then as we're looking at I-77, there was also northbound lanes that were being impacted because of an earlier crash. That is no longer the case. That has also been cleared. But this is a live look outside. I-77 heading north. Maybe you're heading up to the lake or you're heading out of town. It's just going to be slow moving. Nothing too out of the ordinary though as of now. Drive times right now, 21 minutes if you're coming in from Matthews into Charlotte. And hey, if you are heading out of town for your Memorial Day weekend, here's a few things you'll want to know. If you're leaving today, AAA does suggest that you leave before 11 a.m. If you're leaving tomorrow, you might want to wake up early. Make sure you're on the roads before noon. Worst times to travel over the next couple of days will be between noon and 8 p.m. today, and then between 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 6 o'clock for your Saturday. Take it easy on those roads on this very busy holiday weekend.
All right, thanks so much, Majestic. Well, it's been 2 months since the historic Carolina Theater reopened, and with its opening came the continuation of a family affair. WCNC Charlotte's Larry Sprinkle introduces us to a father and son duo who called the theater home.
The Carolina Theater, a major part of Charlotte's history, opening with a big fanfare in 1927, dazzling audiences with its grand design and modern flair. By the 1970s, time hadn't been kind. What was once a showplace had faded into a crumbling shell of what it had been. To most, it was just another old forgotten building. But to Charlie Clayton, it was a dream worth saving.
It was always my dream to see it looking like it is now, in this wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous place. And I could see it, but most people who came in here could not see it. All they could see was ruins.
After the theater shut its doors in 1978, demolition was on the table. Clayton fought back. In the mid-90s, he convinced city officials to let people in to see it for a few days. No lights, no frills, no seats. That moment sparked something. The Carolina Theater Preservation Society.
Or post-1961, no one had ever seen it like this because it was covered in curtains, and the cinema screen was up, the green curtains were everywhere, so everything was hidden after 1961.
Plans were made, a design drawn up, even fundraising. Then in 2008, the recession stopped everything, but Clayton kept going. He turned to Michael Marsicano of Foundation for the Carolinas, and together they pulled off a miracle. The city gifted the theater to the foundation for just $1. A huge capital campaign followed, eventually climbing to over $90 million. 8 years of restoration, and in March, the curtain finally rose again. But there's one more twist to this story, a moment even Hollywood couldn't script. Clayton's son Billy actually had his 15th birthday party in the theater. Years later, Billy built a career in California in sound and audio production. Today, he's back in Charlotte, behind the soundboard, the lead audio technician for the Carolina Theater.
Well, it's pretty exciting to be on the ground level of something like a project like this, you know. The recreation of the Carolina Theater is something that I've only imagined for my whole life.
An incredible irony. The man who never let no way be an answer and his son right there together. A theater reborn, a dream realized, and a legacy carried forward. At the Carolina Theater Uptown, Larry Sprinkle, WCNC Charlotte.
How great that he's getting to do this with his son. I love that. Yes.
If you
Yes.
haven't been yet, you got to go.
I've only walked by and seen the outside of it.
Absolutely
They're
beautiful.
showing movies. They are having concerts. They're having public events. I mean, there's something that just to go inside. When you see it, you think,
right,
is this real? I remember going there. One of the last shows they had in the late 70s was a Fist of Fury with Bruce Lee.
Okay.
I was in radio. A bunch of us from the radio station went down there. It was just a nasty theater. I thought,
really,
what are we doing?
Really?
I mean, it decayed and it became just horrible looking inside. And that's what Charlie, his dream was to restore it. It's like, you sure you want to do this? Well,
yes.
Magic happened and it's back, and it's such a major part of Charlotte's history, which I heard Chris talking about this a little bit earlier. There's not a lot of Charlotte history saved from the past. It's there. I mean, that's 1927 is when it opened. By the way, when it opened, it was silent movies.
Whoa, that was a long time ago.
It wasn't until 1938 that they had what they call talkies.
Right.
But
talkies.
Elvis was there. Katharine Hepburn did a play there.
Really?
Drew Barrymore's great aunt performed there as well. Ethel Barrymore. So much history right there in uptown Charlotte.
Glad it's being preserved.
Absolutely.
Thanks for giving me all those fun facts.
Thank you.
Always great to catch up with Larry. Time now for a look at what is up this weekend. If you had a long week, you can take a moment to relax with some yoga at the Mint Museum. Tomorrow morning at 10, enjoy yoga on the lawn at the Mint Museum on Randolph Road. All experience levels are welcome. You can stroll through the museum or the gardens afterwards. Right now, we're going to take a quick break, but make sure you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We'll have another check of weather and traffic coming up in just a moment, and we'll have the morning's top headlines coming back at 8:30.
Good morning, everybody. 79 degrees, so we are cooler than yesterday, but still a nice mix of cloud and sunshine like what we're doing. Muggy meter today, don't worry about it. You don't even have any bars showing up here. It shows how dry it is, and that's also going to temper some of our rain expectations that we have going forward. Really, our next chance for rain isn't until about Sunday during the evening time, and then it will also increase yet again later on Monday night heading into Tuesday. Tuesday right now, by far, is the wettest day of the week. Our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast showing that temperatures are going to level out right around that 80-degree point for your Sunday, on the way down for the wettest, the cloudiest, and the coolest day on Tuesday, but then right back to around 80 degrees about a week from today with daily pop-up shower and thunderstorm chances where it'll feel much more humid. Majestic, what's going on that we need to know about your morning commute?
Well, it has been a sad morning. We are reporting on one death after a person was hit by a car this morning. Our WCNC crew, they are live on scene. You can see it here. It's on Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave, so avoid this area at all costs. I want to switch it on over to our live traffic maps, getting you right to where that accident is still ongoing. We're seeing those backups, slow impacts, so just avoid it. Again, Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave right there where there's still a very active scene. You can see those backups even as we zoom it out. Live look outside, I-77 northbound. You can see it. It's going to be a very busy travel weekend ahead with Memorial Day weekend. Make sure you're safe.
morning, and thank you so much for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Megan Bragg, filling in for Ben.
And I'm Lisa Washington. A third person is facing charges this morning in the disappearance of a stolen French bulldog named Julio.
Court records show Kendra Hunter is now facing charges. She's the mother of the teens charged in Julio's kidnapping. Unfortunately, the dog is still missing, and now the owner tells WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley she's still searching for closure.
Jayla Gittens told me by phone she is desperate to reunite with her dog Julio, a 6-year-old French bulldog. He was stolen from her car April 6 while Gittens was moving boxes from her Charlotte apartment.
It's very stressful. I'm anxious all the time. I think about it all the time. And it's just like every day, you know, you're reminded of it. And there's like a violation, too, in that somebody can steal from you.
Her Honda Civic was also stolen during the incident. 2 minors are charged in the case. While CMPD later recovered Gittens' car in the Mallard Creek area, there's still no sign of Julio.
Just do the right thing and be over with it. I mean, it's not worth getting a felony charge over stealing somebody's dog.
Despite the arrest of 37-year-old Kendra Hunter, Gittens says the pain hasn't gone away.
For some reason, it's just become this long, drawn-out, situation when it should just be when you take something, you give it back. So I think I'm more frustrated at the parents in the situation than even the kids.
Court records reveal investigators were able to link Hunter to the case through a ransom photo sent to Gittens. Hunter has been charged with felony possession of stolen goods and property.
I started getting messages basically asking for money in exchange for my dog, and I really couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, and I really couldn't believe that it was somebody's mother in the photo. That was just shocking to me that anyone would participate in that and not want to make their kid do the right thing.
Gittens is still holding out hope that someone will help her find Julio and finally give her the closure she needs.
I feel like this can't go on forever, especially considering, adults have now been charged.
Now, there is a $5,000 reward in this case for any information leading to an arrest. Gittens is also offering her own $2,500 reward to anyone who can bring her dog home.
Right now, people headed out for the Memorial Day holiday. We're going to have a live look for you. Of course, it just went away. That's the beauty of streaming live here, but we'll get to it later if perhaps we can. Let's check in with Chris now because a number of people do have plans for this Memorial Day weekend, and they'd like some good weather to start the holiday.
And I love today and tomorrow because I don't really have to worry about much. And I have been talking about a slight chance for rain on Sunday. Realistically, I think most of us don't have anything to worry about for your Sunday as well. It's really your Sunday evening and again later on Monday. So most hours of the daytime, A-okay, especially right now. Great, right? Dallas, you can see a line of clouds off in the distance. But all in all, what you're seeing in 4 different shots here is how it's going to look today. A sunny to a mostly sunny day. We have a nice improvement because of that wind. The wind is much lighter than what we had yesterday. Yesterday we were popping up to about 35. Today at most I think you have maybe a 20 to maybe 25 mile per hour wind, but sustained really about 10 to 15 most of the day. Nothing like yesterday. And we'll be a little bit cooler because the wind's out of the northwest, and then by tomorrow winds even lighter. High temperatures today close to 80 degrees. Not quite. We're not quite there. We have the mid 70s right along the I-40 corridor, and then the upper 70s up and down I-85. And then up in the mountains, we have highs in the lower 60s all in all. And then you can see our high temperatures are going to settle out eventually into that cooler range back down into the mid 70s to the upper 60s. And that has to do with these upcoming rain chances. Tonight, to sunrise. This is the coolest night that we have going forward, where after this, temperatures are going to zoom on up. 53 degrees right around Charlotte for our low, and then 49 degrees in Hickory. I checked the record for this day in climatology, which would be May 24th. The record was close to 40 degrees as Boone's going to have, so this would actually be the 21st coldest, May 24th, which is not an attractive record. I'm just letting you know. I like to look up stats, and that's the best one I could find for this chilly factor. 60 degrees is where we should be, so I guess the easiest one is this is 7 degrees below normal for a typical May 24th. All right, I'm done talking about Saturday because Sunday a little more action can happen. We'll have more clouds, so a mixed cloud and sunshine turning more partly sunny for Saturday. Sunday has some active green here on our futurecast, but let's get there. Today is a sunny to a mostly sunny one. Tomorrow is a partly cloudy to partly sunny day, but I think there'll be thicker clouds down towards the south. So if you're going to, say, Columbia, you're going to have a good chance for a little additional cloud cover. Say if the kids are going to the wonderful zoo down there, it's going to be on the cloudier side, which is great, but you can still burn, so wear plenty of sunscreen. And then by tomorrow, what day is it? All right, by Sunday morning, you're going to expect those clouds to increase once again, but then here comes the rain. I think realistically, a lot of these green spots here on the map are representing some darker clouds. You could have a sprinkle or two. We are way too dry right now. Today is actually so dry that we technically have the inverse of a heat index. So sometimes when you're so dry, it actually can feel a little bit cooler than the actual air temperature. So 78, 79 could actually feel more like 76, 77. And also it's going to be really absent of that moisture until we get to about Monday. It's Tuesday that starts to feel a little more humid, and that's where you have our best rain chances. By Sunday evening, though, we will start to add a little extra moisture to the atmosphere that I think will compress out some rain and even a chance for a thunderstorm down to the south. I think at most this will be a light to a moderate rain shower. The reason why this is a little bit more of a focal point for my forecast is because there's something big happening on Sunday. The Coca-Cola 600. Right now, this is 9 p.m., it shows at best a sprinkle for Concord. By the end of the evening, you could have a light rain shower. I think these would be fairly scattered, not a lot with this, but there is a chance for rain. And hey, the Coca-Cola 600 has dealt with a lot worse, including widespread thunderstorms, so this is nothing compared to that. And then heading into your Monday morning, we will have another chance for rain. But as of right now, the biggest change that I've had from the last time you saw me here on WCNC Plus is I think we're going to have a decently dry Memorial Day, but clouds are going to be the dominant feature. So right now it's looking like kind of more of a mostly cloudy day. That's not a bad day. Still great for grilling. And the rain is going to hold off until you head to about Tuesday morning. This time frame is still all over the place. There's one of two scenarios for your Tuesday. Either you have a wet morning commute and the rain's going to last until about the middle of the afternoon, or you have a dry morning commute and the rain starts late morning and then will end by the evening. We just don't really know where this is going to line up, but regardless, it's going to keep a widespread rain chance and a lot of clouds around for your Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, still could have some lingering rain as well, but then the system starts to get out of here and we will even have a chance for more sunshine, a pop-up shower, thunderstorm to conclude our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. A lot happening this holiday weekend. Hopefully you all enjoy it. Stay safe. And then by next week, once you get to about day 8 of the forecast, we should be back into the lower 80s where we should be. It's starting to feel a little bit more humid at that point, and then we have the oh so predictable pop-up isolated shower and thunderstorm chance heading in the last days of May. Traffic's always unpredictable and not always the best scenario. Majestic, what went on this morning?
Well, we do have a traffic alert for you this morning. Want to start with this. This is our WCNC crews on scene as we are now knowing that one person has died after they were hit by a car earlier this morning. Now, this is on Hoskins Road. Again, emergency responders are on scene. You'll really want to avoid this area at all costs as roads are now blocked off. Let's get to our live traffic maps. I want to show you exactly where that accident is still ongoing and active. So as we zoom it on in, you can see those slowdowns right around that. So we know that it's on North Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave right there. So avoid this at all costs again as they're continuing to work through that. You can see those backups are up and down both inbound and outbound lanes there. Want to show you our I-77 live look though out towards Lake Norman. Boy, it's going to be a busy weekend at the lake. Of course, we are heading into our Memorial Day weekend. Make sure you are really driving with caution over the next several days as those roads are going to get quite packed. I-77, York County, good morning to everyone waking up and joining us this morning out there in South Carolina. Also tracking this new ongoing accident. It's on Mount Holly, Hunterville's Road at the Brookshire Boulevard. So you can see just slow moving conditions there. And then just to the south of it, another one here. It's on Albemarle Road at Redmond Road. Some slow moving traffic because of that. If you are leaving out of town today for some Memorial Day weekend plans, according to AAA, the worst time to travel today will be between noon and 8 p.m. So now's a good time to hit those area roadways. You'll want to do it before 11 a.m. today.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much. All right, drivers, start your engines. It is race weekend in Charlotte. Thousands of fans will head to Charlotte Motor Speedway for Speed Street and the Coca-Cola 600.
Joining us this morning is Jonathan Coleman from Charlotte Motor Speedway to talk about this weekend's event. Good morning, Jonathan. Speed Street.
Good morning.
Yeah, Speed Street is always a very big hit. And so tell us what people can expect this weekend.
Absolutely. The forecast sounds awesome, so I would just throw in at a 100% chance of fun out here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You may not be able to hear them behind me, but we've actually got the NASCAR racing experience already on track this morning, giving some of our campers a fresh dose of, you don't even need coffee in the mornings when you're out here at the Speedway. So tons of fun all weekend long. We're kicking things off today with the ARCA Series and the Craftsman Truck Series races, rolling all the way through Sunday with our big military pre-race salute to the troops and the 66 running of the Coca-Cola 600.
I'm sure it's going to be just electrifying. All right. So, Jonathan, for those who are new to Charlotte, what are some things that they should know about the weekend events?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to know is that it is an experience. It's not just the race on Sunday. So, as I mentioned, we've got racing today. We've got racing tomorrow. We have a huge military pre-race that we do to honor the men and women of the U.S. Armed Services. We've got concerts that accompany those, so you can come out and BetMGM Speed Street is our fan zone. It's right outside of the racetrack. So you think of like a big county fair atmosphere. We've got an 80s and 90s tribute group tonight called Hairball that's going to be performing. We've got Smash Mouth that's going to be out there tomorrow night. And then here in the infield, actually where I am now, we're going to have Old Dominion on Sunday that's performing a concert as well. So it's not just the racing. If you're not familiar with racing, that is absolutely okay. There is guaranteed to be something to do and something to enjoy for the family out here all weekend long.
Yeah, definitely. I love Smash Mouth. But last year's Coca-Cola 600 was shortened due to rain. Now, thankfully, we should be okay this weekend. But how are you guys preparing for any potential weather challenges?
Yeah, we joke a lot in motorsports. We have what we call the vortex theory. So as long as we can get the cars started and get them going in circles, I'm not a meteorologist, but we feel like we can create that vortex and kind of keep all the clouds and all the rain away. In the event that that's not successful, we obviously, with 66 years of history, we've had some history of weather impacted events. So we bring in jet dryers and all sorts of equipment to get out there on the racetrack and try to dry the track as quickly as we can. We use everything from social media to text alerts to emails to in-venue PA system alerts to kind of keep the fans updated if there's any schedule changes or if we need to clear the grandstands to keep people safe. So we have, unfortunately, I guess, had a little bit of experience, but we've gotten pretty good at being able to manage. And with the forecast, it looks like that should not be an issue. We're looking forward to a great weekend with great weather and even better racing.
For sure. Now, as someone who has been named Employee of the Year with the Speedway, congratulations, by the way, talk about what it takes to pull off something like this. We're talking about one of NASCAR's biggest races. What's it take to pull this off? Also, do you have a favorite memory?
Yeah, it takes a lot of planning and a lot of work. I was honored to be named Employee of the Year a few years back, but I am one of a lot of people that really put in a lot of effort to focus on this weekend and make it really special on and off the racetrack. So there is a crazy amount of logistics and coordination when you think about all that goes to putting on a major event like the Coca-Cola 600. Whether that's making sure fans can park and get to their seats easily, making sure we put on an exciting event that, we can't control what happens on the racetrack. We leave that to the professional drivers, but making sure the concerts are a lot of fun, making sure we've got other activities for everyone to enjoy, making sure we do our due diligence on Memorial Day weekend and really honor the troops. That is a special piece of kind of what we hold dear as having this race date and being able to do that and being able to have representation from all 6 branches of the military come in and to be able to celebrate them and love on them on Memorial Day weekend. All of that is really key. And that really leads into probably my favorite memory. We have a lot of things going on, and it's really easy to kind of get caught up in all of the things that happen to make race day come together. But I have kind of my own little personal tradition where I will walk out during the national anthem and stand right in the middle of the infield, just kind of find a little place to myself in the middle of all the hustle and bustle, and to hear taps played and to see the flyovers and to experience this patriotism with 100,000 fans all around me. That is every year for me. That is the top. So I'm always looking forward to Sunday. hopefully a great race, but just a few minutes before that race, there's a 5 or 10 minute window there with the national anthem package and all that we do to be able to celebrate the memories of our fallen. That always makes for a really impactful and really special moment for me personally.
Sounds like a special moment for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so here on WCNC Plus, we like to have fun, and of course, we're going to tease you a little bit, Jonathan. The crew at North Wilkesboro feeling pretty good after last weekend. Who does race weekend better, Charlotte Motor Speedway or Wilkesboro?
That's a great question. They definitely set a bar high. And I can say that they set a bar high because a lot of the people that are behind the scenes at North Wilkesboro Speedway are the same people that are behind the scenes here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So, I obviously am going to favor Charlotte just a little bit more because this is the home track. And this is, this event for me is just so special because it's the biggest thing we do all year long. But I got to hand it to the team at North Wilkesboro Speedway because they're a lot of my teammates. They put on a great show last weekend for the All-Star race. The racing was great. All of the entertainment surrounding the event was great. And they really are going to make sure we step up our game and do even better to continue to raise that bar this weekend.
That was a good answer.
Yes.
All right, Jonathan Coleman with the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Thanks so much for speaking with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Birkdale Village is up for sale once again. It comes just 1 year after getting a new owner. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King went to the area and spoke to residents to get their thoughts on the change.
And many people here told me they like the direction this area has gone under its recent ownership. So they say with this change, they can only be hopeful about what's to come.
We love progress. We love community amenities and would love to see the continued growth in the area.
Change is underway for residents in Huntersville as Birkdale Village has been listed for sale once again.
It definitely went downhill for several years and we stopped coming during that time, and just over the last maybe 5 years or so, it's really made a comeback.
This decision comes just 1 year after getting a new owner and 2 months after Huntersville leaders approved their recent expansion plan.
It seems like as soon as something's gone out, we have something coming right in for it. So it's growing fast.
In a statement, Birkdale Village leaders told us, quote, investors have made the decision to market the property after almost 19 years of ownership. And they will continue to believe in the long-term opportunity of the property and are seeking to remain in the transaction through its process. Residents say with the potential changes underway, they have their own ideas of what they would like to see.
Just more like stores for our age. It's like you have to be 18 in order to go in. But if you don't have a parent, which half the time none of the kids do because they're just walking around for fun, they won't let you in.
It's one of the only last safe places for them.
Things are going good, but I'm excited to see the new opportunities coming here. Hopefully it will bring us more business.
In Huntersville, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
And Chris joins us now. We know that hurricane season starting on June 1st. The predictions are out from the two universities and then the National Hurricane Center.
Yeah, you're right there. National Hurricane Center, they're always usually the last one about a week and a half out. And here's exactly what they said. And we're going to break down why they're saying this and why I do support some of their thinking as well. So, on average, the 30-year average, we have about 14 named storms. And of course, there's a hurricane name list that is shown each and every year. And it gets to about the letter N in the hurricane alphabet. Now, 7 hurricanes, so that would be 74 mile per hour sustained winds or greater. And a major hurricane is a category 3. And that's about 3 per year. Now, the National Hurricane Center officially released that they think there's going to be 13 to 19 named storms. So we can call that an average to an above average season. And as far as hurricanes go, pretty much right around the average to slightly above, and same thing for major hurricanes. Now looking at the other universities that Lisa was alluding to, North Carolina State and Colorado State University. Colorado State's always the first one, then NC State follows suit, and then NHC, I can't even say it, National Hurricane Center, also is going to be following that up. And they're pretty much all spot on. So we don't really see a big discrepancy between all of these. And the main driving force for us to call it an average to an above average season is because of two main factors. Number one, what phase of the Enzo cycle are we in? What does that mean, Chris? That just means if we have an El Nino, La Nina, or La Nada. All that simply is what the water temperatures are west of South America. It depends if they're super warm or if they're super cold on what the weather pattern is going to be across the United States or what it's going to be across the globe even. But our ocean temperatures, I think, are our biggest contribution of why we're looking at least an average to an above average season. Things are getting warmer, not just the air temperature, but the water temperatures already so far. In May, we've had record warm water temperatures. In Southwest Florida, we're measuring water temperatures at 89 to 88 miles per hour. I want to put this in perspective. For a hurricane to form, all you need is water temperatures at 80 degrees. It's usually around September that we have our peak of hurricane season because water temperatures are at their warmest. So if we're already near 90 degrees at this time in May and it's not even hurricane season, that means some of those water temperatures off the Keys are going to be in the upper 90s to around 100 degrees. That is bath water. So 20 degrees above the normal that hurricanes intensify in. That's why we're seeing so many rapid intensifications, and that's where a hurricane can turn from a Category 1 to a Category 5 within moments. And that's exactly what Milton did. That's what Beryl did last year. So everything is just based on that. Now here's the complicated side of things. So the water temperature I was mentioning west of South America are either going to be cooler or warmer. When they're right in between, this is called La Nada. So whenever you have a really strong El Nino, that's not good for hurricane season. When you have a strong La Nina, and this is what we transitioned into in 2005, and you might know a storm named Katrina, that happened then. That was also one of the more active seasons. La Nina is the worst case scenario, but sometimes being right in the middle, the neutral, we're right close to zero for those water temperatures, La Nada can also lead to an above average season. So a La Nina and a La Nada season usually leads to less hurricanes over in the Pacific, but more hurricanes here. But why? Main reason, two words: wind shear. Wind shear is the change of wind speed and direction with height. So when that happens, it's great for tornado formation, but it's not great for cyclogenesis for a hurricane to form because it cuts up its momentum. These are really fickle creatures that they kind of need everything to be just right. They're pretty much the baby bear's porridge here for everything to line up. And sadly, this season, we have less wind shear still with La Nada. We still have warmer water temperatures, and then we also just have everything that's kind of lining up for that. So it's usually the end of the season, August, September, and October, that we have most of the hurricanes. We always say this, it only takes just one. Sadly, last year there were technically three that were retired: Beryl, Milton, and of course the one that we'll remember here forever in the Carolinas, Helene. So that wraps up our hurricane recap. I'll have one more look at our Guy Roofing 70 forecast. We also have another look at traffic, which has been a very active one for Majestic Storm.
All right, let's get straight to it on this Friday morning. This morning, we can confirm by medics that one person has died after being hit by a car this morning. We were there on scene all morning long. We don't have a live shot of that currently, but I do have a live look of what's going on across those area roadways. So happening still a couple of hours ago, but what we're watching for is still those impacts. North Hoskins Road between that and Tennessee Ave. That's where the accident was, and that's where the scene is still active. Even as we zoom it out, you can see those backups there, so avoid that spot at all costs. Want to show you a live look outside as we're heading into a beautiful Friday morning. I-77 here at Lake Norman, a very popular place to be this weekend as we're heading into our Memorial Day weekend. I-77, York County, saying good morning to everyone out there. If you're heading towards Uptown, be ready for some congestion. It's going to be even more congested this weekend, of course, as more people are coming into town and more people are heading out of town. An ongoing accident you'll want to know about. It's on Mount Holly Huntersville Road at the Brookshire Boulevard. So you can see a little bit of an impact there. Not seeing anything too significant though. And then as we head over towards the east just a bit, another ongoing accident. It's at Albemarle Road Road at Redmond Road. Seeing that orange indicating slow moving traffic there. Want to get to this because if you are traveling this weekend, according to AAA, the worst time to travel will be between noon today and 8 p.m. The best time to travel will be any time before 11 a.m. So you better get going if you are heading out of town. You can see our local drive times, though. If you're coming in from Gastonia, it's going to take you just under 30 minutes to get you there. From Waxhaw to Charlotte, just about 46 minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Majestic. Well, it was so nice. We're doing it twice. Earlier this morning, we were looking at this shop from Myrtle Beach. I mean, just gorgeous. Right? Idyllic. If you're heading out to Myrtle Beach or someplace else for the Memorial Day weekend, do enjoy it, but be safe. For us right now, we're going to take a break, but WCNC Plus continues streaming live. In fact, we're going to start over at 9 at the Live Impact News studio with our own Jane Monreal. She's going to have the day's top headlines, including breaking news, weather, and traffic as it happens. In about 2 minutes, we're going to have another update on weather and traffic, so make sure you keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Morning, everybody. Today is my pick of the week. High temperatures in the upper 70s, sunshine galore, so sunny to mostly sunny day. Those clear skies will allow us to reach our coldest low of the week, lower 50s to the upper 40s across the area to kickstart your weekend. Rainfall chances start to increase by the end of the weekend. I think our next best chance is going to be Sunday evening as scattered showers start to flourish, especially south of Charlotte. Could impact the Coca-Cola 600, but barely. And then after that, best chance for rain looks to be Tuesday. Majestic, what's one thing we need to know about traffic so far?
Well, it is a sad morning, actually. We are now reporting on one person who has died after being hit by a car early this morning. Our WCNC crews are on scene here. You're going to want to avoid this spot at all costs as this road is blocked. You can see the crews are on scene. Emergency responders are there as well. Let's switch it over to my live traffic maps to show you where this is ongoing. Of course, North Hoskins Road and Tennessee Ave. You're going to want to avoid that as this is still a very active scene. Those backups are there, but stay close to WCNC. We'll keep you up to date as we continue to learn more.